Hello, everybody. You're welcome to Startup Grind Aba's event. This April, we are hosting Mr. Igwe Uguru of Rad5 Tech Hub and CEO of Chooya Startup, and we'll be discussing on upleveling your success. My name is Ezinne Uzoije. I am the chapter director of Startup Grind Aba, and I am co-hosting this with my co-director Segun Bamidele. Welcome, stay with us. So for now, we're going to be playing you a little video for you to get a preview of what AWS in partnership with Startup Grind has to offer. Just stay tuned with us.
There's a reason why for the last 13 years, startups overwhelmingly prefer to build on top of AWS. We have the largest number of services, making it easy for you to take on some of the biggest challenges with the smallest teams. We also have partnerships with the top VCs, accelerators, and incubators around the world, making it easier to secure your next round of funding.
I'm a solution architect with the AWS Head Start program. What we do is we work with startups in the education sector, and we help them build their services on AWS.
So We Power Tech is AWS's diversity and inclusion outreach program. The program is really twofold. One is to increase the number of underrepresented technologists within the industry, and the second is to provide a platform for them to be seen and heard.
If you're wondering how the AWS Evangelism team might be able to help your startup, there are many ways. We're technically credible across our entire catalog of products, so we can help you figure out which services might be able to meaningfully impact your business. We also want to help tell your story. So if you're building something cool, we want to know about it and help spread that message to the world. So you might end up on stage at an event like AWS Summit. If you're a startup, you should also definitely check out the Aws Lofts. These are event spaces that are free to anyone with an AWS account. And you can treat them like co-working spaces, but the awesome thing about them is that we also have people like technical evangelists like myself, solutions architects that come and give hands-on technical workshops and sessions to help you learn how to more effectively utilize the AWS products and platforms that you're already building on top of.
We are a dedicated team of people that love startups, that we just want to come and help you with whatever we can, whether it be technical or business focused. We are here to help guide you and make sure that you do have a say in what's going on. We do get your feedback. We do bring that feedback to the service teams. That is what we're here for.
So hello, welcome once again. This Expo, AWS and Startup Grind are partnering to bring you the AWS Mentoring Month. And this is because we believe that mentors play a huge role in the growth of startups. And there's an opportunity for everybody here that is on this call right now to apply for AWS exclusive Startup Grind Mentorship program. And we'll be sending you the links right after this SG virtual. For now, we already have our speaker right here with us. And when we're talking about mentors, he is someone that is a mentor to a lot of startups. He has mentored at Startup Weekend. He has mentored entrepreneurs at Tony Elumelu Foundation program. So join me as I welcome Mr. Igwe Uguru. Thank you so much, sir. We are happy to have you here with us. Welcome. Thank you. Mr. Igwe.
All right, thank you, Ezinne. It's my pleasure to be here this evening. So thank you very much.
All right. So to start with, we would like to know your background. We want you to share with us. Some of us already have an idea about your great strides in the startup ecosystem, but then I'm intrigued. Why would you go into that aspect, especially in Aba? What's the drive? Can you share with us?
Okay. Basically, my name is Igwe, just like Ezinne, and it's a result of passion. I started what I'm doing because there is a need for it.
Okay.
So basically, why I'm in Aba is because one, I started from Aba and I faced a huge challenge while I was coming up. So one of the challenges that I faced was that there were no communities, there were no places for people to meet. I knew the first projects that I was working on, I had a very big issue. It was supposed to be one project that should have scaled through, but the issue was that there were no communities, there were no mentors. I have to abandon that project because I was scared at some point. So
Yeah.
it's not something I might be able to have enough time to go into detail to explain certain things that happened that led to the failure of that project. So one thing I want to say is because is a lot of things that happened or brought me to keep being focused in my ecosystem, which happens to be Aba, is because of the fact that I faced a challenge that I wouldn't want anyone to face. So what I'm doing right now is to see how I can be able to support people not to make the mistakes that I made. So for instance, let me summarize it with this. I had an opportunity where a telecom was supposed to invest in my project. So as at then, I was very scared. So what happened? I have to give up. I have to quit. I was scared. That's just the truth. I was scared. I was like, let me mention names. That's Glow. So I reached out to them and they were interested in my project. So at some point I was very scared. I was like, what if this thing fails? What if, and I started rebuilding a project that I've already finished. I was almost ready. The MVP was ready. So I was like, no, let me make it more stronger. There were no mentors, there were no communities. Someone to tell me, no, this is an MVP. I never knew what an MVP was.
Yeah.
So the reason why I do what I do, especially being in Aba, is not because there are no offers. There are offers for us to leave Aba. There are offers for me to engage in a whole lot of things. But when we look at it, we know that this is beyond us saying that this is not just a job for us. It's not a job for us. Most times people ask, why are we doing what we're doing? It's not a job for us. This is actually a mission. It's a mission. It's a work that needs to be accomplished.
Interesting. I'm so inspired by that. You're driven by what the community needs. You're driven by the challenges that you faced when you were starting out. Thank you so much for that. And to go forward, I observed that you just mentioned that when you started with it actually failed, and over the years you've done a lot of ventures, you've started some things, and most of them are still working right now, right? But I'm interested in knowing what are the things that you would share with startup founders, actionable tips on how to increase in their capacity for success, especially at this time when there is a global pandemic that a lot of us have never spent all our lives. We're wondering where do we start from? What are the things that we can lean on to say, okay, these are the things I can do to increase in my success, increase in what I'm doing right now. What can you share with us?
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is this. We need to transition to innovation. So what I mean by that is that a lot of us are solely depending on technology without understanding that technology is just an enabler. We need to transit from being focusing more on technology to focus more on innovation. So innovation is more wholesome. Like it encompasses a whole lot of things where it's not just about your technology, it's about your process, it's about your products, it's about your paradigm, it's about a whole lot of things. So if we can be able to innovate, if we can be able to think around innovation, innovative ways, we can be able to change our process, to change our product, to change our thinking, our perspective, and also our positioning, how we can be able to position what we are doing. So this has to do with innovation. It's not all about technology. So it's about innovation. So I encourage startup founders to transit from focusing more on technology to focus on innovation. Now, secondly, one thing I will always say is this, based on the audience, a lot of people are starting new things.
Yes.
Most of us, about 90% of us are scared. So that's why we don't even start. We are scared of failing. Now, the failure, the first failure is the failure to start.
Okay.
The real failure is the failure to start. Now, a lot of people are scared of starting a venture. Why? Because they are scared of failing. They are not being, they're not actually reaching out to other people to let them know this is what I'm doing, because they don't want people to look back at them and say, oh, you started this and this failed. Now, one of the things you need to do is to have social accountability, where other people must account what you are doing. Now, you have people who reach out to you. They could be mentors, they could be investors, they could be friends, they could be families. Now, for anything that I do, I have to share it across to my friends. I have to share it across to my mentors. Now, what does that do? It actually have to help you stay accountable. Now, you have people who will be checking up on you. Now, because you have a lot of people who are checking up on you, you will sit up. You will actually begin to try to do something better, right? Now, but most people they don't actually want people to be accountable, because they believe that, oh, if this person is accountable, if this thing fails, they will think that I'm a failure, right? Now, and if we observe, most people who have been most startups that have been invested in, most of them are usually, they have failed in one venture or startup or the other.
Yes.
Right? So a less percentage of them are people who are just starting their first venture or their first startups. Okay. Now, another important thing is that we must believe in ourselves. I remember the time I never believed in myself. Just like I shared, at some point when I started my first project, it was supposed to be a project I so much believed that would have transformed a whole lot of things. But at the end of the day, what happened? I was very scared. I never believed in myself that I could actually carry out such, I could be able to execute or keep the project together. So at the end of the day, I was scared and I lost out on that project. So we must believe in ourselves. So some of the secret behind what I'm doing today happens to be that I so much believe that I have the capacity to deliver whatever that I'm doing. Now, I don't just say it, I don't just believe it. I go to the extent to build the capacity. Right? I go to the extent to build the capacity. Now, this also has to do with not just you building a capacity around you, but also to build a capacity where you have other people. You need to have people who actually believe in your vision. Now, it's not just people who want to do, or people who just want to be part of your team. This must be people who believe in the vision, people who are willing to do they are willing and they have the passion to do or carry out that vision. Now, it is always known that a great startup is not just a startup with great founder. A great startup is a startup where the team can be able to execute that vision in the absence of the founder or the leader or the CEO or whoever leads that team. So what it means is that what we need to do as startup founders is that we must be able to communicate our vision. We must be able to communicate our vision so that the team, even without you, can be able to execute that project.
Okay.
Right? So these are some of the tips that I will actually share with most startup founders. And I'm trying to take it bit by bit because I believe that maybe possibly some of our audience might be first-time founders or they are trying to start something new, right? So let me not go in depth, maybe to start talking about some of the secrets, maybe when it comes to funding, when it comes to, so let me just come from the basics. So very importantly, first, learn how to leverage on innovation and not just technology. learn how
Yeah.
to innovate around everything that you do, especially your products, your
Process.
products, your positioning, your process, and the paradigm. Now you need to know how to innovate around this. You must believe in yourself. You must believe in yourself, and you must be able to have a strong team that can be able to work alongside you, right? And
Yes.
you must be able to communicate your vision that these people, your team, must understand where you are going to and where you are heading to, right? And
Yes.
also, for me, my leadership style is for me to build a system where I am replaceable. That's my leadership skill. I try to
Yes.
build a system where I can be replaceable. So for me, I tell my people, I might, if I move out of this process, if I move out of this startup should be able to keep
To
going
continue.
because it should be able to continue. So I'm not building something that will live within me, but to build something that can live outside my own scope. So with this mentality, what happens? You cannot be able to build a system that is sustainable and can be able to last the test of time.
Oh, thank you so much. And I hope everybody got all of the tips that he shared. He shared quite a lot. He talked about, let me just summarize it, focusing on innovation and not just technology, discarding fear, especially fear of failure, and, having a team that believes in your vision and being able to communicate that vision to the team, and then social accountability. Now, that's a very interesting part for me because you mentioned how startup founders should also be able to be accountable to people like mentors or investors. And you've served as a mentor in various capacities. We mentioned you've served as a mentor for Startup Weekend Aba, and you were also a mentor on the Tony Elumelu program. And I'm wondering, a lot of startup founders keep hearing about mentorship, but can you throw more light on how startup founders can access mentorship and then how they can maximize a mentorship relationship or mentorship opportunity that they get across to?
Okay, very importantly, every startup founder should have a mentor. Very important. Now, instead of the energy that startup founders invest in sourcing funds, if they convert it to invest it in sourcing mentors, they will scale more than the money that they will get. So now, investment is not just cash based, right?
Yes.
There are some investors who are going to invest not by cash, but possibly by mentorship. So this way you have your advisory board where you pay them equity, pay them through equity or through any means. Now you are paying them, right? So they are also investors. What are they investing? They are investing their experiences, they're investing. So mentorship is very key. Now, one important thing that every startup founder must understand is this: regardless of who is mentoring you, make sure this that I'm going to share is one thing that most people miss out from. Mentorship must be specific. You must specify why you need to be mentored. It must have a scope. So if you want to be mentored on how to do A, B, and C, you must have a scope. You can't just say, I want to be mentored. You must have a scope of mentorship. And mentorship, any mentorship that does not have a deadline is just like a goal without a deadline. Now, you must be able to have, it must be specific and it must have a deadline, right?
Yes.
So most people enter into mentorship without any specific people. Even people who are mentoring them, they don't really know the exact takeaway thing that the person needs. So it's when a mentor understands the specific or the problem you are facing that you need mentorship on, the person can be able to focus venture into any mentorship. Okay, whether you're a mentor or you're a mentee. So for mentors, make sure that your mentees, they have a specific purpose. why they want you to mentor them. So mentees, make sure that you have a specific purpose that you are looking for from your mentor, and make sure you have a deadline. So if the deadline is 3 months, if it's 6 months, if it's 1 month, if it's 3 months, make sure it's 3 months. Now you can now continue relationship. You can now have an extended relationship, right? Where you continue conversation with your mentor, right? But you must have a deadline. Now, what does that deadline do for you? Now, what the deadline does is that the deadline will now help you to be able to track or measure or evaluate your process and the effect of the mentorship. So if you are looking at by the next 1 month, I should be able to achieve this. So you must be able to say, okay, this mentorship has been able to help me for the past 1 month, and I've been able to accomplish this. So you can be able to say that you have been able to achieve that, and you can track the effectiveness of that mentorship.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I just gleaned a very bright viewpoint from this, that you need to be specific about what you want from a mentor, and then the mentorship we are receiving needs to have a deadline. So thank you so much for that, Mr. Igwe. I don't know whether you can share some insights on some, can I say, platforms that startup founders can gain this mentorship from, especially from older founders.
Okay, so for me, what I do is that I leverage more on LinkedIn.
Okay.
For me, works for some other person. Now, for me, LinkedIn is key for me. So most of my mentors, I actually source them from LinkedIn, right? Now, my financial mentor, now I sourced her, she's a lady, from LinkedIn. So I got to know her from LinkedIn, and we were communicating before we were able to see for the very first time. So there are other platforms where you can be able to source mentors, right? And one of the things you need to do is when you have a need for, okay, as I needed to be mentored on investments, okay? I needed to be mentored on investments, financial investments, okay? And in financials and also investments, right?
Yes.
Now, I was trying to learn how to be able to evaluate, trying to calculate the valuation of my startup, how I can be able to give a specific valuation for investors who are interested in what I was doing. So I didn't have the knowledge, right? I didn't have the in-depth knowledge. So I sourced mentorship through LinkedIn. Now we have other platforms where you can be able to source mentorship. And another one that works for me is through meetups, okay? Through physical meetups. Yes, physical meetups. So most times I go to meetups just specifically for me to find mentors, right? Mentors who happens, most times we look at mentorship to be that mentorship is old to young.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Mentorship is not old to young. Mentorship is experience to inexperience, okay? In a specific area. I have people that mentor me that I also mentor them. So I have people who are my mentors who happen also to be my mentees. So they mentor me on a particular field, but I mentor them on another field, right? So I'm not an accountant. I don't have a strong knowledge on accounting, right? So I have people who have strong knowledge on accounting, and they happen to be my mentor, right? Now, because I have a strong background on technology, on innovation, and entrepreneurship, most times I happen to be their mentor in that aspect. So mentorship is not old to young. Mentorship is about experience in a particular area, in a particular field, trying to mentor the other person. So leverage LinkedIn and leverage physical meetups. So these are majorly the two major places where I focus sourcing my mentorship or mentors from.
Okay, thank you so much. I didn't really open my eyes to that. You opened my eyes to that because I didn't really know that you can, get mentorship from the experience to inexperience, because when mentorship is discussed, we just keep imagining there is somebody that is quite old that you have to learn from, and this is an eye-opener, because I feel like when founders approach people with, oh yeah, experience in this, I'm not experienced in this, then they can be able to maximize the relationship better. So I don't know, anybody on the call that has questions, you can just drop it in the chat so that we can, throw it to the speaker and then he can attend to it. So Mr. Igwe, I don't know if you would have any concluding encouragement for startup founders. So anybody that has a question, you can drop it in the chat. So please, Mr. Igwe, something that you can share with startup founders to encourage them as they continue on this journey.
Okay. Especially in a time such as now, where we have lockdown across, so almost everyone being affected. Now, at this point, this is a time where innovation plays the strongest role. This way, innovation plays the strongest role. And prepare, make hard times. Now, it is
Mr. Igwe, we can't hear you clearly. Okay, you're back on.
Hello?
We lost you a little bit.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. So we need to understand that this is not the time when we are going to say we don't have an option.
Okay.
We are not going to say we don't know how to move on. Now, as a leader, we must keep moving. That's just the truth. I will not tell you that this is not a difficult time for businesses. No, I will not tell you that. Businesses have been affected. But the question is, how can we be able to scale in a time such as now? I'll give you an instance. Use our experience of our real life now. As I'm speaking with you, I'm not at home. Okay. I'm not at home. I'm not in my house, but I'm not here with my team where we are working from. So selected persons from the team who happen to be the key people that we can work closely with. So what we do is that we have to lock ourselves down to work from this point, where we make sure that we also stay safe, right? So we make sure we are staying safe, but we have to take a decision, because most times remote is an option, but at some point we needed to come together, right? So at some point, 2 or 3 people needed to come together. So we have to come together and be able to re-engineer a certain things that we needed to do. And this is also the time when you need to pivot. This is the time when you need to pivot your maybe your focus. So if it happens to be channeled in one area, you can be able to look around it and be able to pivot based on the current situation
and demand.
So that customers can be able to move on their own demand. An instance is that it's a startup that we launched a few months ago, and our focus was not only to do an intrastate service. So our focus was majorly on interstate, right?
Okay.
Interstate, and a little energy on intrastate, on intracity rather, intracity. Now, but looking at the situation at hand, we have to pivot from not just looking at interstate, because the borders have been locked across states, so you can't easily move from state to state now. But
yes,
you can move within the city. If you can move within a city when you have a permit, right? So what are we doing? We are now positioning our service within the city. So we have to pivot as fast as possible, right? So this is the time when startup founders must be able to talk to their team and let them know this is a challenging time. Don't go and entice your people and say there are no challenging times. This is truly a challenging time, but as leaders, we must proceed. We cannot just fold our arms and say let's just wait until everything maybe subsides. Now, but yeah, so this is the time for you to think. Now, some of the things I need to share. One thing I need to share is for you to be able to have an action plan. Don't just launch an initiative. Don't just launch something. Have an action plan. And that action plan must be specific. So if you're saying, just like what we had, an action plan we had was, okay, so how can we be able to support people? How can we be able to support people in the community leveraging our service? Now, we looked at it and we said, okay, fine. Since we provide an interstate service, why don't we look at it from intra-city service? Now, we also looked at it and said, okay, fine. This is also a challenging time. There are people who are facing difficult times. Why can't we come up with an innovative way where we provide people with maybe opportunities to source foodstuff, to source products and items through our platform. So basically, just like what we do is to give people access to a platform, where give suppliers, vendors access to a platform where they can be able to trade their product and services. Now, we give the buyers access to a platform where they can be able to find whatever they are looking for, right? Now, at this point, we now have to also focus on the demand of the customers. We have to shut off anything that has to do with fashion, anything that has to do with electronics. So we are not focusing on that. Exactly. So this is just a time for you. We face that challenge. So as at now, we are stepping up and we are actually seeing a success around what we are doing so far. So I just encourage any startup out there for them to come, have a meeting, create an action plan, let it be specific, make sure that they write it down, make sure that they are not just writing it down, they need to make sure that they have a deadline around it. Very important. They need to have a deadline around that action plan. So this action plan is within this time frame, and they must be innovative enough. This is just the time for innovation, and let them search for mentors who can be able to help them, who can be able to help them see what they are doing and can be able to scale them. So most of the things we are doing are as a result of mentors who are actually supporting us and telling us, okay, do it this way, do it that way, and we are leveraging on their mentorship. So my thoughts and my wish for every startup out there is for them to step up and be able to embrace the challenge and fight against it and win. So let's win together.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So I'll just go through a brief recap of everything that you've shared with us this evening. It's been quite a lot. You've shared with us how we can actually stay focused and up-level right now in our success. You've shared with us how we should focus on innovation and not just technology, because when we're focusing on innovation, we are checking what is it about our process, what is it about our products that we can tweak, that we can change. You've made us understand that we need to have a lot of belief in ourselves and what we are creating. We need to form a team if we've not formed one already, and make sure that they understand our vision. And you've also shared with us the importance of social accountability, having mentors. You emphasize on that a lot. And you just share with us that mentorship is not just about from an older person to a younger person, but from experience to inexperience. Thank you so much for that. So let's go to the question and answer right now. There is one question, oh, just one. There's one question that says, how do you stay focused and motivated during tough times? By Mayokun. Mayokun is asking, how do you stay focused and motivated during tough times? And I think it's a question that applies for right now. That is a tough time for everybody.
Okay. For me to actually share something very promising. One of the things I tell people is that inspiration, motivation will first come from the inside and not from the outside.
Amazing.
So the strongest motivation and inspiration that you need, it actually has to come from you. It comes from inside first before the outside. So if we are waiting for people to motivate us, at some point we might get weak.
That's true.
Right? But when we motivate ourselves and someone motivates you, you get more stronger, right? That's where you're going to be more stronger. So what I actually advise is that first of all, inspire yourself. Inspiration comes from within and not just without. Like it's not just outside. So first of all, motivate yourself and also learn what other people are doing. Some startups are actually finding their way out. So learn what they are doing and how to motivate it alongside your own internal motivation. So don't just go about looking for motivation outside first. So when you do that, looking for motivation outside, when you get that motivation and you face the challenge, you just drop, you give up. You just give in to that challenge, right?
Yeah.
But when you are motivated first within, when you are inspired first, now when challenges come, you cannot be able to stand strong because you are motivated both within and out. So be the first to motivate yourself. Tell yourself that I am a leader and I have to find a way out. I am an entrepreneur, and this is the time for us to be entrepreneurs, right? This is the time for us to be entrepreneurs, not just leaders, okay? This is not just the time to be leaders. We need to be leaders, we need to be entrepreneurs. So although they go hand in hand, so this is the time for us not just to give. We are not followers, we are leaders. So we must find a way out. So leaders always think for a way out. And there is this saying that the opportunity lies in the place where there are difficulties. The opportunity lies in the places where there are difficulties. As we are speaking today, there are huge opportunities. The only thing we need to do is to, first of all, not to look at the problem, right? Not for us to focus our mind on the problem. The pandemic, the coronavirus, the death rate and all those stuff. So, but we should look at the success stories. I heard about Amazon trying to recruit about 100,000 people. I learned about some other persons who are doing some impactful, innovative and impactful projects. So what it means, there is hope as we pivot. So just stay strong and within first. Encourage yourself first, then source for other people to encourage you. So like someone was asking me something and said, how will you encourage me when you have not, how will you encourage me when you have not actually experienced what I'm experiencing? Okay, so most times we encourage people, most times people tell you, oh, just be strong, right? But they just say it. So you go back and you are not really strong. They just say be strong, right? But most times when you tell yourself, I need to be strong, I need to be strong, I need to find a way out. When people are not telling you be strong, it helps. It actually, that's when it's much better than them just telling you be strong when you, inside of you, are not strong. So be strong now, then look out for people to tell you to be strong.
Great, thank you so much. And I hope that answered your question, Mario Kun. There's no other question here for us. And that means that we are coming towards the end of today's SG Virtual. Thank you so much, Mr. Igwe Uguru, for coming on here with us today. We've learned so much. Thank you so much. So we'll be coming to an end of today's event, and I will have to quickly apologize. We were supposed to have a learning curve with Madwa Buchi Ubani. Unfortunately, that did not happen, but that will happen some other time. So please stay connected with us in the community. We are available on Instagram, Startup Grind Aba. You can also follow up on Mr. Igwe Uguru on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. He is there as Uguru Igwe. So thank you so much, everybody, and I hope we've gleaned a lot. So that will be a wrap on this. Thank you.
All right, thank you.